CJ, what really stood out to me, man, from watching your highlight video was just your accuracy. And just being a former quarterback myself, I understand how difficult these throws can be, especially what really stood out to me on your accuracy was your outside throws, your comebacks, your 10-yard out routes, and just this placement and how putting it low and away or putting it right where it needs to be away from the defender's hand when he's trying to cross the body on a comeback. That's the type of stuff that really stood out to me. Now, with that being said, my suggestions for your highlight video are the following. Okay. First thing is you need to have an information slide at the very beginning. All right. The best way to go about that is to go on Canva. Okay. This is free. All right. And you want to go to a slide. And on this slide, you want to put your name, school, graduation year, position, height and weight, X account, email, and phone number. All right. Put that info on the left. Put a picture of you on the right. Download that and then upload that to the very first thing on your Huddle highlight video. All right. The reason being we want to do this is so all your information is in one spot for a coach to see. He pulls up your film, boom, he knows how to get in contact with you. He knows your tangibles for height and weight, and just all that important stuff that they need for when they're doing their recruiting evaluations. Okay, but also with that contact side of it is that now they don't have to go try to find you on X or try to track down the phone number. I have seen coaches, and I've had to do the same thing. If I can't find out how to contact a kid, their time is so short and valuable, they do not have time to go do that, so they just pass on the kid. And I've seen this happen. So we don't want to have to happen to you. So that's why we want to put all that stuff on the information side. All right, it's a very important part. Now, next is the removal of plays / non-highlights. Okay, now these are not bad plays. Do not make sure you understand that. All right, but these are more anything that doesn't showcase your strengths, okay, or transfer to the next level as much. All right, we want to be able to maybe take these plays out and move that needle for you. Let's say you're an 8 or a 10 on a coach's board. We take those out. Now, boom, we bump to a 5 or a 3 or a 2 or 1. Okay, so just taking those plays out sometimes just creates that side of it that's going to help out. All right, and to give you an example of what we're looking for, okay, are on these two. Is the first one is just that quick RPO bubbles or the little shoot route from the running back. All right. Now, like I said, nothing big, but it's nothing that's going to really showcase as a quarterback, showcase your strengths as much. All right. That's something we should, as a quarterback, should be able to really do in your sleep. And I guarantee you guys do. I've been to Plano practices before with recruiting and everything else. I understand if you guys are repetition. I guarantee you've done that in your sleep to where you can know what you're doing. So just one of those deals compared to throwing that out route or something like that. All right. So that's why I take that one out. And the other one was just your blocking, okay, on that reverse that you had. And it wasn't anything bad, but just being able to stay on that block more instead of kind of getting off the end. And that's where just taking that out. Let's just kind of help that side of it. Okay. Now, move into your sequence of plays. All right. This is kind of how the flow of the film is going to go. All right. You want to do everything within sections. And within these sections, we want to go from pass to run. All right, we want to go from pass to run. The first thing we're going to look at is long touchdowns. Okay, next thing is short TDs. That's kind of more to your red zone, 25 and in type touchdowns. And then we're going to go to your explosives. That's anything 15 to 20 plus yards down the field. All right, and then we want to move on to that to movements when you're throwing on the run. Okay, or when you've got a design quarterback run or a scramble, something like that, being able to show you moving out of the pocket. All right. And then finishing that off with your remaining offensive highlights. This is not necessarily an explosion on these remaining offensive highlights, but it's more a good play that still showcases what you can do. All right. And now within these sections, I have time stamped here, okay, all the top plays I believe are the top ones that you need to start off these sections with, okay? And the reason we want to have the best play for each section is to capture that coach's attention early and keep him watching. Coaches like seeing 6. That's why we put the touchdowns at the beginning, okay? They want to see 6, so put all your top touchdowns, all right? So start with the very first one, then taper off from there, okay? And within each of these sections, you want to have your best 3 to 5 to 6 clips, maybe a little bit more depending on how many you have in each one, okay? But keep that video within the 3 or 4 or 5 minute range so you're good with where you're at now, just kind of rearranging some things, all right? Now, like I said, because they're watching, these college coaches are watching 60 to 100 kids in a day, all right? And you have a minute to really capture their attention. So if we can capture his attention in a minute, we want to keep him watching. So that's what we're doing here, okay? So to kind of show you what we're looking at and what we really like on these throws, and just this first one is a great one to start off with, okay? It's one right here. At the 6-second mark, scrambling. And I understand this, how hard this is. Throwing to your left, throwing a 2 ball over the defender, okay? That is a fantastic ball, man. Okay, and I understand as a former quarterback how hard that is, going to your left, getting the shoulders turned, and then throwing that thing downfield. It was one of my favorite throws to do, but it's also one of the hardest throws to do. Okay, that was a great job there. All right, next, going to your short TDs. Okay, and I know you've got a couple of other ones on here, but this is at the 121 mark is the one I would really start out with. All right, and this is just this slot fade ball here. Okay, boom, jump ball, great timing from you. Okay, boom, one step, ball's gone. Little great arc. Okay, give your guy a chance. That's what they want to see. Okay, that's what they want to see. Give your guy a great chance on a little slot fade. All right, next, going to your explosions, okay, backing up here to the 33-second mark, all right, and just being able to, you got basically a concept, just a 4-vert concept, reading the safeties type of deal, okay, outside guys, you got a little corner down here, okay, or stop, but reading this safety, he covers here, boom, I'm giving the ball right where it needs to be, right on that guy's, right on the receiver's chin, okay, that's a great job, showing the explosion, showing the down the field arm strength, all right, being able to put the ball placement where it needs to be, being able to show that you can read defenses, okay, that's a great job there, all right. Next, going to your movements, all right, so the first one I would start out with is at the 107, okay, now, this one here, okay, great job, again, rolling, still big play here, okay, but boom, we're about 10, 11 yards right there, all right, so it's a great job, like I said, we're on the move, and then next you go off to, with the 16-second mark here, All right, this is the one where you broke the tackles on your scramble and everything. Okay, but just showing, like I said, we want to go from pass to run. Okay, and so being able to show this, boom, we're scrambling, breaking tackles. Coaches want to see the strength. It's a great job having that pocket awareness and being able to turn something out of nothing. Okay, that's a great job there. And then lastly, to kind of give you an example of your main offensive highlight, all right, is the 38-second mark here. Okay, boom, 10-yard out route. All right, not an explosion. Okay, or throwing a 10-yard, getting 13 off of it. All right, not an explosion. Okay, not necessarily a big movement play, stuff like that, but still showcasing what you can do. Okay, that's what we're looking for with those main offensive highlights. Now, like I said, change that information slide. All right, remove those plays. Okay, then change the flow and the sequence of everything. Put those top plays first. Overall, this will provide a more dynamic highlight video for college coaches. Now, after going over the game film feedback, let's take a look at what divisions you should target. I'm basing this off the most recent highlight video, which is exactly what college coaches are going to do and where the athlete can receive a scholarship right now. I'm going off the film that we just went over. Okay, so that's not to say once you tweak it, something changes a little bit more. Okay, so I'm going off of what we have right now. Now, also understand this is a current evaluation opposed to a projected evaluation. Okay, and this stuff is all based on a few criteria. At first, your graduation year. All right, you've got a couple of years, which is a great deal because now we can use this to our advantage to know what we can improve on. All right, use this to be able to build those relationships, go to these camps, and just keep getting our name out there. All right. Second is your size, mobility, accuracy, and arm strength. That's what a quarterback college coach is going to look at. Okay, so now we kind of know what they're looking at, so now we can go level up from here. All right. And with that being said, the levels you should look at today for a scholarship are, all right, that upper D3 to NAI level. All right. Now, you may start getting interest from these schools. All right. But with that being said, all right, if you are not getting interest from these college coaches, that you need to start the communication process with them through emailing and calling them. Okay. You need to start getting your name out there through social media and DMing these coaches. Make sure you're following them on X. Send them your new video. And the reason I'm going to do that is because when they now come to spring recruiting after they get done with spring ball, okay, because they're in spring ball mode right now. So boom, let's start sending that now. So as soon as they kind of have a window to watch something, boom, they can watch our stuff. All right. They can watch our stuff. So when they come visit the school, maybe for the 2027 kid, boom, they can take it and they'll go say, hey, watch this kid. He's a 2028, or they'll see your name, just kind of have that recollection. Okay, so we want to put that stuff out there now and make sure we're doing that. Make sure you're marketing and branding yourself in the correct way, doing things on and off the field in the right way, especially as the quarterback, you're the leader of the team. Okay, but here's the deal. When you go to these prospect camps, all right, this summer, you need to know if these coaches like your video or not upon getting to camp. Okay, because sometimes if you're just going to camp and you have no clue what these coaches are about or anything like that, you may be wasting your money compared to going to a camp a coach really likes your video and really wants to see you. Okay, and now you're really going to get an evaluation to be able to develop that relationship. Compared to sometimes you go to other camps like mega camps or something like that, no coach is going to watch you because of you don't know how invested they are in you. They don't know if you don't know if they like your video or not. So you go to these mega camps with 1,000 kids. I've been there as a college recruiter. Okay, when I was recruiting as a college coach, it's hard to keep track of all these kids. They give you a 40-page paper with 1,000 names on it. All right, sometimes it's hard to watch so many kids and so many times instead of just going to these other camps where you get a little one-on-one or small group focus makes a big difference. Okay. But when you go to these right camps, okay, you can introduce yourself to these coaches. Okay, you can make that relationship. Now, when they watch that midseason highlight, they're going to have a relationship with you, know who they're watching. They're going to see that stuff translate from camp to the film. All right, but here's the deal: how can we also go attack these levels and get better? Okay, that's the big question. Because my suggestion to improve your game that translates to college football and possibly a higher division are the following. Okay, first thing is accuracy. We talked about how good it is. Always can get better. Okay, working on catch and throw drills, simulating that bubble throws. Okay, fast screens, quick game. All right, working on drops. Okay, doing drop drills. That's all starts from the ground up. If your feet are right, everything else has got a big chance. Working on our mechanics. When you're doing mechanics, aim small, miss small. Okay, when you get to college football, those windows get smaller as the defenders get faster. And keep working on that film set. All right, learn to leave those receivers open at all three levels by knowing where the windows will be at, based on what coverage. Boom, we're running this concept, they're in this coverage. This is where my window's going to be. Okay, just kind of start prepping your mind for that. You're going to do a lot of that in college. Next is arm strength. Working with your core and your leg strength. That's going to create more throwing velocity. All right. Got to have more zip on the ball to count for those faster players. Okay, I remember the first time I thought I had enough zip on the ball. All right, when I got to college, I didn't have enough, so I had to work on my core and my leg strength. All right, it all start from the ground up. Okay, that's going to help your upper body with your arm. Okay, doing this with squat and exercises and that deal with explosion for that power side, it's really going to give you that zip. All right, working with your footwork drills. Okay, shuffle and weave between over bag, figure eight with cones, gap pressure simulation drills. Okay, just all those different types of footwork. Have to have a good base while you're doing this. All right, keep that football in hand. This is going to help your mobility and pocket awareness, which can help translate to the college football level because college coaches are really looking for quarterbacks who are mobile. All right, so we've got to be able to show that. Ball security. Okay, keeping that thing high and tight. Can practice this when you're doing footwork drills and sprints. Because if you can't protect the football, your chance of playing is going to go down. Okay, we got to protect the football. It's the number one thing as a quarterback. And then also the biggest thing is flexibility. All right, pre and post training stretching, making sure you're taking care of your arm. All right, if you guys don't do it as a team, do it on your own. All right, this is going to help prevent injury, and your best ability is really your availability. Because if we're dinged up and nicked up in high school and we can't get film out there, that's going to hurt our chances of offers. Okay, you turn around and go to college, you're dinged up and nicked up, that's going to hurt your chances on the depth chart. All right, so you got to take care of your body. College football, you need your arm in college. Okay, you got to be able to throw. So keep taking care of that thing now. Now, these improvements are what a quarterback college coach will look at. So double down, do all these things, hit it hard, and if it translates to your video, this can help you level up your evaluation and possibly have an opportunity at that lower D2 level. Okay? But CJ, at the end of the day, man, everything will come down to your individual work, your outreach, as well as your marketing on social media. All right, this is going to be huge for you for what grad year you are right now to kind of keep pushing that stuff so it's available there. But then also your relationship building with college coaches is going to be very important as well. All right, which is why the next step is your athlete interview. We're going to get an interview with the coach and get coached on communication and your interviewing skills. Okay, which is critical for the conversation you're about to start having with college coaches. So make sure you watch the video beforehand and be ready to go. If you have any questions, we'll be able to answer them at the end of the interview. Thank you.